Morning, everyone. How are we doing? This is Nate G on a Wednesday afternoon morning at 11:30. Got my coffee. I'm ready to go. How's everyone doing? You hear me. You see me. Thank God you can't smell me. Um, Kind of a slow week, huh? Good night. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm in just one thing and one thing only at the moment. I nearly bottom ticked today. Google. I was waiting for. You can see here. I was waiting for Google to come into both this trend line and VP level right around 28.50, and so I prepped my order a little early as we wicked down, and just was lucky enough to get in as we kind of double bottom down here a little real quick. We were wicking into that area, as you can see on the 1 minute. And I just grabbed some, and it was looking really good until we came right up in and hit this point of control and rejected off of it. But you can see, I mean, I'm still in it because I'm in it long term. I'm out 3 weeks. But you can see when those things, you really start to see these patterns set up, right? Come in, hit that POC, form that right shoulder, and then just roll right over. Yeah, I'd be happy to sell a few million shares. I'm just gonna have to check on my margin. So it just got to check with my broker on that one, Nate. They might not let me do it, but they're pretty nice. I think they'd give me that kind of margin. So yeah, you can see these patterns all over the place, right? Setting up and rolling over, but that is the only thing I'm in right now, and this is the most typical OPEX week I feel like I've seen in a while. And Nate, you were referencing that one OPEX week where you and I were both super excited about trying to play the ranges, and we just got our faces ripped off on a massive rally, which is very uncommon. And one of those situations where I couldn't change my bias until like Thursday, and by that time it was a little bit too late. Mark, when I'm in Google and I'm 3 weeks out, do you add to it when it goes down like it has? Um, Generally, yes, as long as you're not full positioned, right? So let's say Mark's question was, will you, if you're in something long term, will you add to it? Let's say I had picked up something, here, and then I had picked up some more, added to it here. If I'm already full positioned, I'm not going to add to it down here. I'm just not going to keep adding to it, right? I have a risk that I need to manage, and a lot of times on first entries, I won't always go full position, especially if they're not right at support where I would just cut it if it went below that. Um, but I wouldn't keep adding to it after I'm at full position, right? I don't want to risk too much. Um, but yeah, all the names we're watching. I mean, was it yesterday? No, yeah, it was yesterday. I mean, we went through a couple of these had a nice bounce. We went through Marriott here on the 30 minute. Uh, Marriott gapped down and then ripped back up, and I was watching it. I wanted to pick it up off a bounce off this POC level you can see in here. because that rip down and reclaim on the 30-minute, that's pretty bullish. I have a feeling we're going to kind of stall out right here. But MAR is still intact, but a lot of these things we were looking at yesterday, GILD, that one kind of did the same thing. EMR, I guess EMR is still intact, would have been a good pickup this morning. DHR, a lot of these looked like they were completely breaking down. Ooh. DHR on this 195 is interesting, other than that overhead resistance that we looked at the other day. So most of these, believe it or not, are still intact. They just looked really, really, really bad yesterday. I think STX broke down yesterday. I think that was the one that, yeah, there we go. STX on this 30-minute broke down into the close and continues to break down. But we had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names, and 5 of the 6 are still holding up. So that's not bad, right? Can you hear my dog? What? Got an itch, buddy? Oh man, that groan when you get that itch just right. But yeah, I don't really want to do a whole lot more here. I do think the market is kind of waiting a little bit for Fed minutes today. John, no, I'm not in any of those positions. We just went through those as possibilities. And the market is just, we can go through them again, and we can also see if there's anything else we might want to take a look at. This first one here is Marriott MAR. I liked it on the 30-minute yesterday. It looks pretty nice on the hourly here. We can probably adjust this trend line just slightly based on yesterday's price action. But you'll see what we've done here. This is extremely bullish, and I wish I had gotten into it. I just feel like I don't trust that the markets are gonna really just go. But we gapped down this morning, as you can see. We go to a 5-minute. We gapped down this morning and immediately reclaimed that level. And now we're breaking the trend line, and we're above point of control. Point of control is basically these two red lines here, just kind of that block of VP. And we might push, although right now we're coming into a little bit of resistance, and we'll see if that holds. So I do like MAR quite a bit, especially considering this is the daily chart on MAR. That is what we call in the business as a strong stock in an uptrend in the biz. So that's MAR. So that's on watch. GILD. What were we doing? I think we were doing that on the 30-minute as well. This 30-minute chart still looks pretty good to come up here and break this sort of 81 level. It's coming up into this POC at 80 even. And so I'm watching to see what it wants to do, because today it ripped up through and then came right back down into it. So GLD is interesting. EMR, I think, is now in a squeeze on the one. Yeah, look at this thing on the 130. Look at this rounding momentum. Yesterday would have been a great entry off of this level. When I was on the mic, we were talking about the risk reward off of 95.16 on EMR. So I'm watching EMR. It looks like it's kind of getting ready to go here. but I like this 130 chart. Wolfie, you think we're going to break the monotony on the SPY soon? Think we're going to roll over? Looks like a rollover to me. Here, I'll get rid of these colored blocks. I mean, we'll see what happens here. I think if it drops below 443.16, we'll get a flush. I mean, we've already broken this trend line, retested it, and rolled back over. And now we'll just see if it wants to hold or not. Because as we move into just today's price action, we see that there's a POC right underneath us. A little bit of support. So we have EMR, DHR. DHR is now like on a 195. I hate it when my charts do that. Yeah, this one's a little more sketchy for a number of reasons. One, it kind of broke down and only slightly reclaimed, but then also, as we discussed, there's still a lot of traffic up in this area. Like my drawing. Now you're in SPY puts right now, right? Yeah, ticks are just hanging around zero, keeping us all asleep. I think we'll see after the minutes come out. I think we'll see here. Let's do something we haven't done yet. Let's do it on the SPY. And let's go like a 65-minute chart. Let's get rid of all of these drawings. And then give me, I gotta remember how to add this. Come on, brain. I need you. There we go. Okay. So now let's go to a 15-minute chart. Okay, so today, this is sometimes fun to do, is Wednesday. Okay. Well, fun for me. Maybe not. Whoa. Let's go. Tuesday. Monday. I have a video doing this, and on OPEX weeks, it's kind of fun to see how accurate this actually is. This would be Friday. Friday. And then this would be Thursday. And I always like to mark. Okay, so Thursday's here. Friday, Monday. Okay, and then I usually like to mark the gap between Thursday and Friday, if there is one. Right, so I'll come into here. I don't know if I can remember where these tools are. Again, help me, brain. And I'll draw a little gap box, and I'll drag it over. Right, and as we get a couple more days into this week, we'll start to see, more of how this shakes out. But what we'll see, right, we came in Friday. Friday was pretty much sideways. This is sort of our pit below area, or just that mark between Thursday, Friday, of the week prior to OPEX week. And then, we look at Monday's close, like we are out of here, right? And we are breaking out and then the market said, you know what? Nah, we're not doing that. We're coming back down, and now we're working below, right? So if we have potentially, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, my guess, and this fits also with um, Nate's levels, because we have some levels we're trying to get down to on the SPY. Nate, what are you in here? Yeah, Monday's such a fake out. I actually got caught Monday trying to short the market, and just kind of kept getting burned and stopping out. And then I thought to myself, I bet we pull, and my puts, which were in the queues, had I held on to them, obviously, it's always the hindsight's always 2020, right? You never wanted to let a trade go against you, but I was trying to short these pops up in here, and it just wasn't working, and so I took them off into the close, and they were like a week out. They weren't zero DTEs, and now here we are, way below that. In hindsight, had I just held on to them, but the point we're making here, or I'm trying to make here, what's your level on the SPY, Nate? Because I just deleted all my lines so that I could show this, and I had it in there. Do you have that number handy? 444.40. Lots of fours. All right, so we came into your that's your target. No, you had a low you wanted to buy off of. Maybe we've already come into it. 440.40. Yeah, 440.40 is a good. Oh, here we go. 440.40. I'm going to put a line right there. Right? So here's our range, our Pitbull range, right? Pitbull low range, or just a pip, that Thursday, Friday gap before OPEX week. And we come in on Monday and we rip up and said, you know what, psych, we're coming back down. Now we're rolling, right? I wouldn't be surprised. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. I just wouldn't be surprised if, we come down into this area at some point to maybe tomorrow, and then we work our way back up and we close somewhere near this box. That would kind of be a true OPEX week, right? We kind of come up, we say we're out of here, psych, right? We come down in here, we put in some sort of a low, we say psych, and then we finish right where we started the week, basically. On a Thursday, Friday. So, this might not happen today. We might work our way down. We might work our way down to these lows today, and then tomorrow morning we get a little bunk like that, and then through into Friday we work our way back up into this area. It doesn't always happen. It really doesn't. But every OPEX week, I would challenge you to, mark it out. You can do it on the Friday too, of OPEX week, and see how close you were, and see how often it happens, and write it down. I mean, I've said this a bunch of times. I should keep a stat on how often this happens, because I feel like it's higher, but I don't actually have the stats for it because I just haven't kept them. But that's a very typical OPEX week feeling. Swing high, swing low, right back to where we started. Now we've got some negative ticks. SPY is rolling like you wanted it to. – I wish I was in some puts. Yeah, look at that. God, this happened to me yesterday too. I got a great entry on UPST. It ran up and then rolled right back over. Qs broke the low of the day. They sure did. They broke it and then reclaimed pretty quickly. Be interesting to see what they do. What does that look like on a larger time frame? I measured this pullback. This green line here is symmetry on this pullback back here. In what, February? This pullback right here, we're just kind of above it. And if you can see, here I'll get rid of, if you can see, look at the bottom edge of this VP level, this huge volume node here, right? This, what I would consider a cliff. This is a value area low. I mean, look at that, right? Closing coin. Nice day trade, Nate. I love a good day trade. So look at this. I mean, just look at this cliff. And look how symmetry on that pullback from February. This big one here. This green line is that symmetry level. And its value area low here for this node that we're currently in. And below that, we'd flush. Below that, we'd flush down to 354.70. Right? So, and that would kind of line up with our idea of, you know, the market's pushing down a little bit in the next today, tomorrow kind of situation and bouncing. Yeah, OPEX is the third. OPEX week is the third Friday of every month, and that week. And so the pip below is that Thursday, Friday, that second Thursday, Friday of the month. So yeah, right now for me, there's just not a lot to do. I'm gonna manage this Google trade. I like my entry, so I'm not taking any heat other than it's just, I've got no profits at the moment, but I like my entry there. Assuming the market can kind of hold. Google's been holding up pretty well considering what's been going on. Cost is probably holding up like a champ too. Let me go. PayPal, not so much. Oh yeah. Like a champ. That looks great. I hadn't really been watching cost all that much. I know it's been on your radar, but I've been watching other things. Yeah, that looks great. Just needs to break out of this here. Big chunk of VP right here. Propping it up. Oh, God, yesterday it looked kind of weak, didn't it? I bet it shook a bunch of people out into the close. Yeah, hard to hang on to that when it looks like that into the close. I mean, if you're buying in here in this range here. Yeah, Google's at a great risk reward spot if you're not already in it. But if if the market wants to roll hard, I mean, we're into the bottom end of this trend line, and we're into this kind of VP level here. It's not like a major VP level, but it is a VP level that's been respected as support for a little bit. So good risk reward here, assuming the market can somewhat stabilize. So I thought we could also try and find something to do maybe after FOMC here today. This 437.56 line on NVIDIA has held pretty well, especially if we can get a little bit more of a flush. I might try and bounce NVIDIA off that level as well as value area low using 441.59 as kind of that over under level for this pattern. And then it would need to get above 440, what is that, 448 on the nose pretty much. That seems like a good play. Basically just essentially with a stop directly under 437.56. And yeah, I mean, that's the very, very, very simplistic nature of it. Kind of this over under level. So let's say I bounce it off over under level being that point of control. Let's say we try and bounce it into this level that it's kind of coming into now. God, the market's got to do something though. It's always scary to try and bounce something when the market is showing you 900, negative ticks, 900. Hang on a second. Looks like we might get our bounce. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Qs would have to give me a similar feeling. We looked like we were going to bounce off that double bottom break, and now we're rolling. So generally, and this might bounce anyway, but this is a good example of this is a good risk reward spot, but it also the market has to cooperate as well. So having Qs and SPY up and the ticks up, if the ticks want to keep pushing 800, even 900, this level's just not going to hold. Right? So we're kind of watching it. But if all of a sudden we can get a turn in the markets, then it might hold. There's the touch. Well, let's look at the SPY here. Yeah, breaking the low of the day on the SPY, or at least it pierced it. $440.40 right there. Here's the level in Google. We're kind of coming into that level on both Google and NVIDIA. Costco unfazed. Costco is just unfazed. Yeah, Nate, a lotto on Google is this. It's a great spot for it. Just need that market to turn. We need to get back above zero on the ticks. There's a little bit of a bounce on NVIDIA right off that level. See that? So I don't know if this holds. The market obviously has to bounce. Qs are putting. I mean, SPY's putting in a little bit of a bounce. You know, and this is day trading, right? If you picked up something off of that level, you know, you have to watch it back up into this over under level. And sorry, I got distracted, and after you asked that question, I kind of got halfway through it and then got distracted. But basically, if I'm bouncing it off of this lower level, which I didn't do, as I come back into the over under level, I'm going to take off some profits and watch to see if it rejects that as support and continues to roll over. Right? So I'm going to watch this. If this continues to bounce, and maybe it happens while I'm on the mic and we can just talk about it as it goes, right? But I'm underneath that. So if I'm bouncing it off of a support level I've found, I'm going to take profits off into it. And potentially, if the market continues to show weakness, I could take a short off of it for a further rollover. So catch a little bit of the bounce, knowing that I'm going to try and play that back up into that level, and then try it for a rollover if I think the market looks weak. So knowing that underneath it, I'm just bouncing off support and trying to catch a little bit back up into that level. But I'm not. But and I'm watching it for a move, another kind of move. The other way to play it is play it as an over, right? Let's say you didn't bounce it, and you see it break above that level. Generally, it's going to come in and retest that level, to which that's a good risk reward spot to buy for a potential move that way. Right, so then it kind of becomes a long. Underneath here, the chance that it's going to short off of that level, is you can kind of play it both ways. I can play it from a bounce here up in. I can play that long. I can play it for a rollover on a retest of that level. I can play that short. Anytime I'm above that, I can play a bounce. This thing didn't even really get a chance to come up into any level, any major level at all. It rejected off of here. And we're continuing to go south. Mark J, did you take profits on it, on that bounce? Google's holding that level. So anyway, that's kind of an back to this OpEx week idea. You can also play OpEx week this way, knowing or at least betting that the market might return back up into this level on an OpEx week. Yeah, Google's respecting that level, which is great. J&J, let's see. Tons of squeezes. Yeah, daily 195, 130, 78. Man, that gap was rough. Yeah. Maybe off this 30-minute squeeze. This morning it would have been a great pickup on this dip down to 172.84. I just don't love all of this. But I can see it. It really is having trouble getting up over 176. I mean, hell, it's tried to get over 174.50 a couple times and had some trouble. We got a fake out inside up day. Yeah. I don't know. It's not my favorite. That doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. I mean, there's definitely spots for risk reward. It's definitely made some runs and then gotten rejected. But if you know that, then you can make a plan off it. Catch it on a run up. When does the run up look like it? This run up happened in the morning. This run up happened, well, I guess, spiked up in the morning. It likes to do a little morning run up. Pick it up on a midday low off of a good level. I can see that. Man. Come on, markets. I should be shorting. But, I mean, it's just starting to look even more likely that we kind of come down into that level or close to it. Yeah, squeezes are legit on the 1, 5, and 15. But just be aware that a 1 minute squeeze is going to fire. It's not going to fire as far as a 130-minute squeeze would, generally. You're going to get your 5 or 6 bars before momentum rolls over. So you can use them as a day trade. But and maybe a good entry point that all in, you take a 5-minute squeeze on a chart that is setting up on a 78-minute squeeze, and that's your entry. That's also great. Mark, I was just saying generally I should be shorting today. It was a general statement. This is, like if we're looking at the market here, it's not a great spot to short. I mean, the only thing I could see doing if I really felt like I needed to short, which I don't necessarily right now. I should have shorted earlier, like this sort of triple top up here. This, whoops, learn to work your computer. This was the short spot. Also, I had it marked up, but then I got rid of all my lines. You know where else was the good short spot? Which is actually a more realistic short spot than, trying to top tick a triple top situation. Is right. Where are my circles? Is right there. Can anyone tell me why that would have been a great short spot? Let's make it green. I guess it's green. You can't answer that, Nate. I know you know the answer. I mean, it's a great trend line retest. We broke it and we retested it. It's also VWAP and it's also point of control. Like, obviously zoomed into just today's price action. But you have three things lining up right in that circle that say this is a great risk reward level to take a shot. Right? And then we broke down, it's retesting the trend line, it's retesting VWAP, and it's retesting POC. All right in that same zone. That's what's called a cupcake trade, and I didn't take it. I know I do it too, though, Wolfie. I know he couldn't help himself, but sometimes it's just he'll ask a question that of course I'm not supposed to answer because it's a learning question for the room, and I can't resist either to just straight up answer the question or put a smart ass answer in, because that's how I live my life via sarcasm. But yeah, that was the cupcake trade that I, of course, it did not take. Because I think I was on the mic when this happened. And I just don't like to trade much when I'm on the mic. $440.40. I'm getting closer to $440.40, Nate. Just need a little bit more of those negative 900 ticks. How's Google holding up? God dang it. Is that not the most frustrating thing? Great entry on a long-term chart. Starts moving the way you want it to. Roll over. That's hilarious. I think it's going to hold up just fine. I'm not too worried about it. This trade really truly starts to break down below 127.93. Put a pink line in there. And that's the reason it really truly starts to break down, is because that's value area low of this massive node up here. Okay. I suppose that's it for me for now. Otherwise, I'm just going to stand in here and babble. Babble about nothing. if we can get that test, that 440.40 test, I'll be looking to long some things for sure. NVIDIA being one of them. Kind of like to get into some Apple too. Maybe off this level down here at 177. The avatar, the 440.40 test is this level on the SPY at 440.40. $440.40. FSR. Oh, it's a small cap. Let's see what it looks like. I'm not playing FSR. I mean, it's underneath this pretty massive VP point of control. I think Tesla's getting hit today too, isn't it? Oh, not too. Well, yeah. It is. Yeah, all the EVs are taking some heat. I mean, Tesla back down into 180, 185, 190 area. If I don't think it gets there, but that'd be an interesting spot to pick some up for a long. Also, maybe this 207 level, 207.50. Put an alert in here. Yeah. Market's looking a little on the weak side. I mean, we also have a cliff here. Yeah, we're right at or just below that 55 on the NASDAQ futures. And you can see this cliff. So we need to see some sort of a bounce here. Because if we don't, at the very least, we're coming down into that level there. That's a pretty serious move. God, the cues are weak. Yep. Coming right into that level. Let's see what happens. Maybe the Fed minutes at 2 o'clock give us a little bit of a bounce. Should we do some symmetry? Let's do some symmetry on that pullback to this one. Let's adjust. Let's go here to the low before the bounce. Yeah, we're kind of coming into those levels where I would expect to see a little something. And that was the level I had on there earlier, lining up with this the bottom edge of this value area. What time chart do I use the most? Man. I mean, honestly, the 1 minute is probably what I use the most. But that's just to kind of zero in on levels I want to take shots off of. My favorites, other than the 1 minute, are the 30 minute and the 78 minute. Those are my favorites. They just make me happy. But yeah, I run through them all. I mean, you always have to check the daily, and a lot of times I'll kind of pick the 30 minute because it's in the middle, and it just allows me to see more of the movement from other than the daily. It'll give me more detail in terms of VP levels, gaps, stuff like that. So yeah, daily, 30 minute, 1 minute, and then I do like the 78 minute for TPS style stuff. Is my volume super low, Kareem? I luckily have a gain. Is that better? Is that louder? Or does it get softer when I go that direction? So I can crank the gain up a little bit. I'm also just, I'm sitting in a room by myself. I'm not talking all that loud. All right, not much going on here. I think I'm gonna jump off. I'll also be in chat in case something happens, and we're coming into that sort of do or die level on Google. Come on, boss, work for me. Help a brother out. Oh, you tried YouTube and it was fine, and you're thinking it's from my end. It might be. It might be. I also after I talk for 45 minutes or whatever, I always get a little, my voice starts to get a little monotone and gets drowned out just from kind of being starting to get tired, I guess. My voice, not my body. Because I really just don't, in my day to day life, I just don't talk for 45 minutes straight, generally. Yeah, I'd like a relief rally on the Fed minutes, but I mean, most of it's baked in. Hopefully, they have something in there that gives everybody a little bit of hope, and we get our bounce. And that would kind of fit with what's going on or what should go on an OPEX week anyway. So, all right, I am done babbling. I will be in chat. I will talk to you all soon. Be careful out there, especially with Fed minutes coming on at 2, and this being an OPEX week. Just keep yourself safe. Like Nate and I, Nate was on the mic and I was typing in chat. If there's ever a week to take off, like if you're going to take off 1 week a month for to not trade, OPEX week is definitely the week to take off, or to take downsize your sizing or trade less frequently, that sort of stuff. So, okay, Nate's internet is back. Nate, if you want the screen, just hit me up and I'll give it back to you. Otherwise, I'll just keep my screen up until you want to come back on later today. So just let me know. All right, thanks everyone.